Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is part 2 of our autism diet discussion. Now, we actually have a lot to cover this time around, as we did last time, that's why it was so long. But please bear with me. I'm not feeling the greatest, and so I have a little bit of brain damage. I'm not doing so good. So I have a lot of notes because I can't remember a thing. So please bear with me. All right, so last week we discussed the base of the different diets for autism and why they were even necessary. We talked about allergy and intolerances and the difference between the two. We talked about removing gluten and casein and soy and corn and why that's necessary. And this ultimately led to bringing attention to the condition that those irritants cause, which is leaky gut. So this week we are going to explore leaky gut, leaky gut is also known as gut dysbiosis. So, that's the technical term for it. But we'll talk about what it is, and don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. We are going to talk about the path to healing the condition. So, let's get started right away. What exactly is leaky gut? Now, leaky gut occurs when the intestines become excessively permeable and leak their contents into the bloodstream. Scientists have long wondered whether the composition of bacteria in the intestines, known as the gut microbiome, might be abnormal in people with autism and drive some of the symptoms. But now new studies support this notion and suggest that restoring proper microbial balance could alleviate some of the disorder's behavior problems. So here's just a little chart I found, and it talks about leaky gut syndrome. It increases the space among the cells of the intestinal barrier, allowing non-digested substances to arrive in the bloodstream. These can produce immune reactions, like eczemas is one they point out. It can also be produced by non-suitable food, intestinal diseases, or intolerance or allergy to food. And that's what I'm saying. If your child has an intolerance to gluten, dairy, corn, or soy, and these are not removed from their diet, then this is an ongoing problem that's causing this damage to be done to the intestines. And of course, it's going to create discomfort and gastrointestinal problems. Here's just a healthy gut versus leaky gut. A healthy gut works like a cheesecloth, allowing only nutrients through, but keeping larger food particles and pathogenic bacteria, yeast, and parasites out. In a leaky gut, the tight junctions are loosened, so undigested food particles and pathogens can get through and activate the immune system, causing inflammation and food sensitivities. So you see the cycle. We give our children foods that they may or may not have an intolerance to, and if they have an intolerance or even a food allergy, it causes these cells to be compromised, and they move, and it allows these bacteria and stuff into the bloodstream. And doctors are now recognizing that a lot of this actually is connected to neurotransmitters, which can be a problem for developmental delay, which is something that we all see in our autistic children. So this is all very, very important research, and it's obviously ongoing. Here's to sum up. What causes leaky gut? Well, we know food intolerances, obviously. Experts say that non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen, as well as sugar, alcohol, processed foods, and any foods that trigger an allergic response. So this is interesting because inflammatory drugs, we're all conditioned that, when he has a fever, we reach for the Tylenol. If he's not feeling good, we reach for the ibuprofen. So also processed foods, this can, trigger that leaky gut syndrome. So, you know, that's why the autism diet is so important to really dig deeper into and to research. And there are other things too that you know, causes the leaky gut is irritants like chronic stress, toxins, and microbiome imbalances. Now, there's some new tests out about stress and cortisol, the hormone. So we want to, you know, dig deeper into that a little bit too later on. Okay, so as the condition of the gut degrades, it's no surprise that the health impacts can be really, really dramatic, right? The good news is that the cells of the intestinal lining replace themselves every 3 to 6 days. So this means that given the proper support, the gut can repair itself quickly. And that's extremely encouraging, right? Because sometimes we think that repairing damage is going to take a very long time, and it does. I'm not saying this is going to happen overnight. It's not even going to happen in a week. But at least it begins to repair itself, you know, every 3 to 6 days. So this is really, really good news. So we're going to discuss steps to healing that leaky gut problem. First thing first step obviously is to remove. And that's what we talked about basically last week, was identifying and removing the source of gut lining irritation. Rather than attempting to suppress the symptoms with medications, you know, taking steps to heal it naturally. We talked about eliminating gluten, casein, soy, and corn. Removing common irritants like sugar as well, and chemical additives found in many of the processed foods can provide surprisingly quick relief. And sugar alone is enough to cause gut problems. So a properly conducted elimination diet can help you pinpoint which foods are causing trouble. So one thing I found was that if you eliminate a food for a couple of weeks and then reintroduce it, keep notes of the effects that it has. So like if you think that there is a casein allergy or intolerance, remove it for a couple of weeks, give the body, a chance to do its thing, and then reintroduce it and see if there's any kind of a reaction to it. Because an intolerance is going to cause, uncomfortable feelings. So, you'll be able to see, even a nonverbal child, you can see discomfort. So, another thing that I thought was a good idea was having a food journal. Write down what's eaten and how it affects them. And, if your child is verbal, ask them if they feel fatigued or gassy. And if they do, add it to the elimination list as most likely. If the body is saying, yes, I am sensitive to this, we need to pay attention to that. So, limit the use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Yes. That would be ibuprofen, Tylenol, naproxen, aspirin, all of those. They inhibit the body's production of substances needed to rebuild the intestine lining. So, if you use full therapeutic doses for more than a couple of weeks, there's a 75% chance that you will develop leaky gut that doesn't go away when you stop using the drug. So, try to limit how much, the doctors do this. The doctors are like, oh, he's got a fever, give him Tylenol. Oh, he's not feeling good, give him ibuprofen. They don't tell you about the effects that this has on the system, And now, if these effects were life-threatening, it would be a different story, But because they affect the domino effect of your health, then doctors are like, well, it's worth the risk. But, it's not. Not when you have a kid that's already sensitive and whose stomach is already going through problems. It's not worth the risk. So, yeah. You want to root out infections. Leaky gut can be instigated by any number of pathogenic microorganisms and parasites that thrive in the gut's warm mucosal environment. If food level interventions are not helping, and try to run some tests to treat parasites, because all the nutrients in the world are not going to help you if you have a parasite. So, ew, right? But, you know, I mean, it's something you gotta keep in mind, because, you know, it could be a factor, right? Alright, so let's discuss in greater detail the nasty little preservatives and additives that are found in processed foods. Because when you're talking about an elimination diet, there's quite a bit that's in processed foods that, you know, cause irritation, they cause, you know, sensitivities, they actually move you backwards in the healing process, and we want to move forward, so we're going to discuss these. We don't want our food to just taste good, it has to also look good, and as a result, food producers use any of 14,000 laboratory-made additives to make our food appear fresher, more attractive, or last longer on the shelf. The longer manufacturers use these additives, the more we learn about their impacts on our system. While some additives are harmless, others cause everything from hives and asthma to nausea, headaches in some people, and cancer. We'll be getting to that. All right. Some experts recommend avoiding foods listing more than 5 or 6 ingredients. Yeah, if you look at the ingredients of your food, that's going to be a hard one, right? Or longer than 3 syllables. Or ingredients that have longer than 3. That's a lot of them too. And we'll get to some of those too. Okay, so I definitely want to discuss a few of the common chemical additives and their possible side effects. We're not going to go into 14,000 who has that much time. But there are some common ones that we can keep an eye on. And these are the ones, as I was weeding through them, I was thinking, you know, which ones affect our picky eaters? Because that's what it's all about, right? Which ones are going to affect a child with autism who is suffering leaky gut. So these are the ones that, I mean, you can do your own research on the subject, obviously. Methylcyclopropene. Propene, okay. Methylcyclopropene. This is a gas that's pumped into crates of apples to stop them from producing ethylene, the natural hormone that ripens fruit. Commonly known as Smart Fresh, this chemical preserves apples for up to a year and bananas up to a month. Okay, so protective equipment and clothing is needed for applicators of this product. They must wear long sleeve shirt, long pants, shoes plus socks, chemical resistant gloves made of waterproof material. But it's okay to put in your body. It's okay to eat it. Feed it to your kids. All right, be on the lookout for that one. You know, artificial colors. Now, I know a lot of you are probably familiar with this. A lot of you are not. So, researchers in the early 1900s developed many artificial colors from coal tar dyes and petrochemicals. Over the years, the FDA banned many of these chemicals as proven to be cancer-causing agents. Today, the FDA only allows 10 colors, 4 of which are restricted to specific uses. The restrictions suggest some risks remain. Check out the color additives section on the FDA.gov website. They have a whole thing on it. Of course, they're going to tell you, oh, it's safe. Okay, so the most widely used ones are red 40, yellow 5, and yellow 6. They account for 90% of all the dyes used. They contain cancer-causing agents and also allergic reactions. Isn't that nice? Each year, about 15 million pounds of synthetic dyes go into the U.S. food supply. Since 1955, our consumption of color additives has increased by 5 times. Wonder why there's a rise in mental disability? Oh, who knows? Who knows? All right, so there's some potential problems with food dyes. Leading to cancer development being one of them. Leading to mutations or damaging our chromosomes. That's nice. Nice to hear. And leading to damage or nerve tissue. Red 40 is the most common of the food dyes and might promote tumors in animals. Red number 3 is in maraschino cherries, and they also produce tumors in animals. Stay away from maraschino cherries. Stay away from these food dyes. Get them away from your kids. Act like they're the most poisonous thing, like arsenic, right? Ebola. Pretend it's Ebola. Keep it the hell out of your kitchen. Moving on. Yellow 5 and 6. They have connections to hypersensitivity reactions. The chemical structure is similar to the active ingredient in aspirin. Number 5 seems to be mutation causing, DNA damaging, and might also have random contaminants. Yuck. Okay, so just remove them. Remove them from your diet. Don't feed these things to your kids. Moving on, artificial flavoring. This is another one that, you know, most people are aware of. Some people are aware of it and ignore. Yeah, but okay, so it's a blanket term, artificial flavoring, and it refers to hundreds of laboratory chemicals designed to mimic natural flavors. So, for example, some imitation vanilla flavorings are made from petroleum or paper mill waste. Think about that next time you get vanilla flavored anything. That's nasty. In fact, a single artificial flavoring can be created from hundreds of individual chemicals. New studies suggest that artificial flavoring additives can cause changes in behavior. Yep. Now, these chemicals are known as excitotoxins, and if you're into biomedical, all natural, if you've done your research, then this is a word that you're very familiar with. Excitotoxins. Strong scientific evidence suggests that these substances could cause brain damage in children, adolescents, and adults, with strong emphasis on children and elderly individuals. They may affect the development of a child's nervous system, resulting in learning disabilities and emotional difficulties later in life. It has also been determined that the placental barrier is not an absolute barrier to the passage of excitotoxins, so some can easily pass through from mother to child and damage the developing brain of the baby. Pass that on to your pregnant friends and family. Stay away from excitotoxins, and they include MSG, which we're going to go into more detail about that, aspartame, and all other sugar substitutes. Okay, yes, aspartame. Now, health nuts are very much aware of this chemical, yet you'd be surprised how many people ignore its ingredients. You're going to find aspartame in Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, anything diet. Okay. It's a substitute sold commercially as Equal or NutraSweet, and was hailed as a savior for dieters. Unfortunately, 1 out of 20,000 babies is born without the ability to metabolize phenylalanine. One of the 2 amino acids in aspartame. As a result, it's not recommended for pregnant women or infants. You think? I wouldn't recommend. You know what? I wouldn't recommend it for anybody. Aspartame accounts for over 75% of the adverse reactions to food additives reported to the FDA. Yes, many of these reactions are very serious and include seizures and death. Some of 90 different documented symptoms reportedly caused by aspartame. You sitting down? Headaches, migraines, dizziness, seizures, nausea, numbness, muscle spasms, weight gain, rashes, depression, fatigue, irritability, insomnia, vision problems, hearing loss, heart palpitations, breathing difficulties, anxiety attacks, slurred speech, loss of taste, tinnitus, vertigo, memory loss, and joint pain. Aspartame is 50% aspartic acid, 40% methanol, which is wood poison. Wood alcohol, which is poison. Another one that health nuts know to avoid and ignore by some is MSG. Now, you've heard, a lot of people have heard of MSG. MSG is monosodium glutamate, and I actually spoke about MSG quite a bit on the blog when I was doing the video diary, but we're going to get into it a little bit deeper. So, okay, yeah, Chinese restaurants use MSG for foods and flavor enhancers, and it really is in everything. It's in salad dressing, condiments, seasoning, bouillons, snack chips. You know, some reports indicate MSG causes tightening in the chest, headaches, and burning sensation in the neck and forearms. Gross. Okay, so MSG is made of components found in our own bodies. It's water, sodium, and glutamate, and it's a common amino acid. But ingesting it is an entirely different matter. We naturally encounter glutamate in healthy foods. This seems to be okay for healthy individuals, as glutamate has been shown to not cross the blood-brain barrier in healthy adults. The blood-brain barrier is a lining that protects your brain from things that it shouldn't be in contact with. If you have a healthy gut lining and healthy brain-blood barrier, you probably tolerate MSG pretty well, since it won't get past that. However, since children with autism tend to have leaky gut and chronic low levels of inflammation, they are extra sensitive to glutamate. Being sensitive is referred to in the scientific community as glutamate dysfunction. Glutamate, if your body can't deal with it properly, can cause some problems. Big shock. One study found that glutamate dysfunction is correlated with cognitive impairments. There is substantial evidence that glutamate dysfunction and autism are directly related. It appears that children with autism have higher levels of neurotensin, which intensify the body's glutamate signaling, causing a higher sensitivity. There's more linking glutamate to autism. It was found that individuals with autism have specific abnormalities in the AMPA-type glutamate receptors and how glutamate is transported to their brain, which may be directly related to the expression of autistic symptoms. See, this is important because if glutamate is related to autistic symptoms, then it's absolutely vital that glutamate is removed from the diet. Absolutely. It's so necessary. Alright, so there's more information on that. So to summarize, children with autism have an unusual level of glutamate along with dysfunctional glutamate receptors piled on top of their leaky gut and chronic inflammation. This basically means that they would be extra sensitive to MSG and that consuming it could cause abnormal behavior. So here are some sneaky little names that manufacturers like to stick in that are other names for MSG. Look out for these. Obviously, monosodium glutamate, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, hydrolyzed plant extract, plant protein extract, sodium caseinate, yeast extract, texturized protein, autolyzed yeast, hydrolyzed oat flour, and calcium caseinate. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on. But you know what? Remove it. Get it out of there. Get it out of that diet. Another common additive that I want to mention is BHA. Now, some of us already, once again, are familiar with BHA. There's also BHT. It's two of them. And it stands for butylated hydroxyzyanosole. You figure it out. Yeah, Google it. Okay, so these antioxidants are similar but not identical. Petroleum-derived chemicals added to oil-containing foods as a preservative or to delay rancidity. Ugh. They are most commonly found in crackers, cereals, sausages, dried meats, and other food with added fats. The World Health Organization, International Agency for Research on Cancer, considered BHA a possible human carcinogen. I don't think it's possible anymore. I think they're pretty convinced. That's why you see, no BHA on something. So, okay, so the last one, I know we're going to get through this, is high-fructose corn syrup. Yeah. This one was interesting. Google this one too. This sweetener helps maintain moisture while preserving freshness. A little fructose isn't a problem, but the sheer quantity of hidden fructose in processed foods is startling. The consumption of large quantities has been fingered as a causative factor in heart disease. It raises blood levels of cholesterol and triglyceride fats while making blood cells more prone to clotting and accelerating the aging process. High fructose corn syrup appears to have a role in the development of autism, according to findings of several research. It may be no coincidence that the dramatic rise in autism rate has followed along with the increased availability and consumption of high fructose corn syrup. This sweetener can contain mercury as a result of manufacturing, and the heavy metal can result in loss of zinc. This leads to two no-win situations, since you need zinc to help your body eliminate mercury. Thus, high fructose corn syrup, along with other food contaminants, like the ones we mentioned, have been highlighted for their apparent role in the neurodevelopmental disorders such as autism in many known studies. Consumption can also result in imbalances in calcium, copper, and phosphorus levels, as well as zinc. And it definitely can contribute to the developmental problem of autism. So, okay, that's something that, you want to remove it. We're talking about, healing leaky gut. We're healing, the lining of the stomach. You got to remove these things. So, high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, not good. All right, so we've narrowed down just a fraction of the known irritants that either contribute or aggravate the leaky gut condition. What's the answer? Well, we discussed removal of these things in the diet. When you remove common things from the diet itself, the second step to healing is gentle detoxing and replacement. So, that's what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about healing this problem. You need to give your body what it needs to rebuild that gut lining. It can be compared like this. The inside of the small intestines is comparable to a towel covered with millions of little loops called the villi, which in turn are covered with millions of little fibers called microvilli. If the gut is leaky, those fibers get matted and they hamper the regrowth and the absorption of nutrients from food. It's a vicious cycle because the villi needs those nutrients to revive. So, detoxing will help flush out the metals and toxins that are hindering and even reversing the healing process. So, okay, detoxing is a whole other subject. And we're definitely going to go into detoxing a little bit deeper because there are, a million and one ways to detox naturally. So, I'm going to do that next week. However, we are going to touch on a gentle, natural detox to kind of spearhead the healing process. And we're going to do that through foods and supervised fasting. We're going to repair the damage caused by the EXCITOTOXINS first, and that was the MSG and aspartame. So we are going to get into that right away. And like I said, next week we're going to go a little bit more into different ways to gently detox. But for right now, we're going to concentrate on detoxing the excitotoxins. Okay, so things that will help repair excitotoxic damage. Okay, COQ10 is naturally found in high levels of organ meats such as liver, kidney, and heart, as well as in beef, sardines, and mackerel. Gross. Okay, so in Leo's case, I'm going to always refer to Leo because he is my case study. He won't eat any of those things. I don't think I can even sneak those into his very, very limited diet. But vegetarians who are used to eating vegetables can find suitable alternatives in spinach, broccoli, and cauliflower. There's probably more too, but those are the ones I chose to jot down. Now he does get broccoli, he does get spinach, maybe increasing those to help clear out the MSG and the aspartame. That's those are so important. Okay, so broccoli, spinach, or cauliflower. Niacin is another one. You get that from beets and green vegetables. Vitamin B3 in lentils, lima beans, and peanuts. Riboflavin, which you can get in spinach. There's other sources of riboflavin too. You can look that up. So if I was to make a detox veggie juice, because I juice, and I strongly suggest if you have a picky eater, get a juicer. I've had mine for 11 months and it has not failed me, and he's never had the same smoothie twice. I've been able to get him to drink veggie juice by, putting it in a smoothie, and so, I strongly suggest doing it. So if I was to make Leo an excitotoxin repair shake, I would use a lot of spinach, it looks like, some broccoli. Another one is B12. B12 is produced by certain microorganisms and is found almost exclusively in animal-based products, which is fish, meat, dairy, and eggs. Plants' food, on the other hand, which are a vital source for most other vitamins, contain almost no vitamin B12. But there are some that do. Because I was looking at that. Chlorella. We're going to get into that one a little bit deeper. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so vitamin B12 supplement, I guess if you can't get it through food, but that's another good one. Pretty much all your B vitamins are really good for detoxing. I'll just put that out there. I've discovered that in my journey on research here. Thiamine is another one, and you get that from beef liver, oranges, pork, eggs, seeds, peas, yeast. Let's see. Okay, magnesium you can get from spinach, avocado, and banana. So magnesium, we are all depleted in that. So, and there are other ways to get magnesium, but magnesium has it works with zinc to break down heavy metals. So it's very important to have in our system. That's a good detox. So spinach, avocado, and banana. Avocado is a good fat food. Kids need fat for brain development, and so it's a healthy fat. I would recommend, getting that into the diet. All right, taurine, which can be found in shellfish and mussels and clams. Dark meat of turkey and chicken. So if you can get your kids to eat that, that's good food. Another good way to add to the detox is digestive enzymes. Now you can buy enzymes at your local health food store. You can get them online through naturopaths, homeopaths, health food stores. But you can also find them naturally in food, in kefir, bananas, pineapples, avocados, bee pollen, papaya, sauerkraut, and kiwi. So, get some digestive enzymes in there, because, by removing the bad and you're replacing it with these healthier foods that are going to help, heal that gut lining. So it's so important. Okay, so chlorella and spirulina mix. This is a great superfood. It's a complete food. Technically, you can just live on it. Get this into the diet for detoxification and healing. This is so important. They are among the most popular freshwater microalgae because they are extremely rich in chlorophyll, which is the green pigment vital for photosynthesis that's found in all plants. They're rich in vitamin C, E, and all the B vitamins, including B12. Now remember, we were talking about how it's not found in most vegetables. Both of these algae actually contain high contents of macro minerals, including calcium, magnesium, zinc, and potassium. They also provide an excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids, including GLA, beta-carotene, and nucleic acids, which is RNA and DNA. I just cannot stress this enough. Now, our friend Jackie sent me a list of superfoods that were on her favorite, list, and I'm going to be sharing all of those with you. But this is the one that really stuck out to me because it carries those B12s. And to thoroughly and naturally detox, you need all those B vitamins. So you're taking out the food additives, you're taking out the colorings, you're taking out all that we just talked about. So get this, get this chlorella and spirulina mix, and you can get that from the Healthy Buddha, which the link is on our website. As your body heals, it will get rid of toxins and byproducts through the larger intestines, and so you're going to want to increase high fiber foods like raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, and asparagus. They're all very high in fiber. Raspberries being the highest, and I know that because when I was doing my research, when I first started juicing, I wanted to make sure Leo was getting everything that he needed. And so, definitely you're going to want to add a lot of fiber to the diet, especially after, adding all these other things, So, okay, so there's one more thing that'll help with the detox, is a substance called French green clay, and it's the food grade. Europeans have used it for detox purposes for hundreds of years. Green clays contain magnesium, calcium, potassium, manganese, phosphorus, zinc, aluminum, silicon, copper, cobalt, microalgae, kelp. It's super, right? It has the ability to remove toxic metals and chemical residues, bacteria, and blood toxins with virtually no side effects of constipation, diarrhea, or stomach cramping. It is basically tasteless, and it's known to remove even radiation, arsenic, lead, mercury, and aluminum. So, all in less than 6 weeks. This is another super have to have. It's a very, very safe detox. You can soak in a hot bath with a half a cup of the French green clay and 1 cup of Epsom salts. The minerals will be absorbed into your skin and bind with the toxins to be excreted by your body. So, you gotta. So, okay, don't be overwhelmed. All the foods and all these things I've mentioned here will be listed on the blog for easy reference. Now, next week we're going to go further into the detoxing because it led me to a lot of information. I mean, just this by doing the videos like this, it's just kind of leading into the next topic, and it's flowing. So next week we are going to go into further detail on detoxing and discuss in detail the remaining necessary steps towards healing leaky gut. We're going to talk about probiotics, we're going to talk about enzymes, supplements, and even more about superfoods that heal, all of which are vital components to the autism diet. So, yes, there was a lot of information today, but, it's absolutely necessary to remove the bad and replace with the good. So, I hope you guys got a lot out of it, because I know I did. I learned a great deal. So, okay, now it's time for your corner. Okay, for your corner, this week I'm going to direct you to the Booty Baby blogs. Now, we've visited this one several times, and the link is permanently placed on our blog. But I wanted to direct you to this post that recently came out about Christmas. And the reason that I'm showing you this now is because she has made a very creative way of approaching Christmas morning with little Kai, who was absolutely overwhelmed last year. And so she has come up with this great idea, and I thought I'd share it with you guys so you can read the entire article, following the link in the description. But what she's going to do is she's going to create a gift box, and she's going to leave it on the doorstep, and she's going to put in it a Christmas DVD, hot chocolate with mini marshmallows, a festive sensory toy, like a light-up toy preferably, a festive book, and a lush festive bath bomb. Now, I just thought this was extremely creative, and here's the method to her madness. What she's going to do is, the aim is to get him chilled and calm so that he can enjoy the evening and head off to bed early so Santa can give him presents. And then all this is going to be on Christmas Eve, obviously. So, you know, she's going to have him, you know, drink the hot chocolate, wear the jammies, watch the DVD, you know, play with the toy, read the book, you know, and have a nice warm bath. And I just thought this was a really good post because, you know, it's tailoring it to how Kai will react. And so definitely show her your support, visit this blog, and just read the whole thing. It's really, really creative, and I just loved it. So I'm glad that I had an opportunity to share it with you. Yep, so, okay, drop in and be sure to support the blog, Booty Baby Blogs. She's awesome, and I thought that post was extremely, extremely creative. And so now we're going to move right into the news. Okay, so the news that I want to highlight today is Congress may revisit autism tracking devices. Don't freak out. I actually went, and when I was looking this up, I did find some articles that people were actually freaking out about it. Government tracking, oh no, you know. I'll be the first to tell you I am an absolute conspiracy theorist. I do believe, I believe in a lot of things that would probably blow your mind. But when it comes to this is a horse of a different color. This is not the government trying to chip you or your kid. So, you know, it's just a ridiculous notion. So, okay, so the Congress may revisit the autism tracking devices less than a year after the fizzling federal legislation designed to provide tracking devices and other resources to those with developmental disabilities at risk of wandering is back on the table. Now, I got this from disabilityscoop.com, but it's kind of all over if you want to Google it. Members of the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives have reintroduced a bill known as the Kevin and Avonte's Law. Kevin and Avonte's Law is named in honor of two boys with autism, Kevin Curtis and Avonte Aquendo, who both wandered away from supervision and tragically drowned. The bill reauthorizes an existing Department of Justice grant program, the Missing Alzheimer's Disease Patient Alert Program, and extends this program to cover children with autism who may be susceptible to the same type of wandering. So statistically, 49% of the 1 in 68 children with autism wander off, and the news reports are both stunning, horrific, and heartbreaking. And I know that for all of us, that it's a concern because each one of us tells ourselves every time we see these that this could absolutely happen to any one of us. All right, so the proposal, which originated nearly 4 years ago, would reauthorize and expand the existing federal program, mentioned in the presentation. It would allocate $2 million annually for the U.S. Department of Justice to issue grants to local law enforcement and nonprofit agencies to provide electronic tracking devices to families of those at risk of wandering. In addition, funds could be used to pay for education, training, and notification systems to prevent elopement and properly respond to situations in which individuals bolt. That's got Leo written all over it. I just want you to know that. Okay, so I believe that this impacts everybody who has a child with autism. You can share your support for Kevin Avonte's laws by contacting your local representatives and urge them to support this necessary law to protect our citizens with special needs. There is a petition you can sign online. It's at angelsense.com, and I'm going to have that link in the description below. And let me show you what Angel Sense is.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
On average.
My 2-year-old son, we can't find him.
It happens once a day.
I didn't hear a door open, the front door was locked.
She's wearing pajamas?
Yes.
Every day.
How long has he been missing? About an hour. Are you by water? Yes.
A child with autism is reported missing.
Hold on. We need search and rescue.
He has no sense of danger. If I turn my head for a second to look away to tie his brother's shoe, he can be gone.
It's that realization that led Jennifer Garcia to use this device with her 5-year-old son Matthew, who is on the autism spectrum. It's called Angel Sense, and it was created by a dad whose own autistic son wandered, just like Jennifer's. Worn like a belt, it works with a phone app, giving Matthew's real-time location on Google Maps.
When you're not with him, it lets you know where he is in the school building, where he is on the playground. If he were to ever leave the designated area of the school, you know, while I'm not there, it'll send me a notification that he's not where he's supposed to be.
Since Matthew takes a bus to school, the device also lets his mom know where he is in transit, that he made it to school or is on his way home. And that's not all.
There's runner mode, and it's every 10 seconds it'll send you and your pre-selected first responders real-time updates of his location.
While talking, I didn't notice that Matthew had moved with his siblings, but Jennifer did without even seeing him.
Yeah, he came back into the pavilion that we're in right now. And there he is.
$100 to purchase, $40 for monthly service.
They can't speak for themselves. If he were to get lost, he can't say, hey, my name is, you know, my mom, I live here, here's my phone number. They can't. And it's terrifying.
Is it worth it?
It is. How do you put a price on your child's life?
All right, so that is, you know, like I said, this impacts all of us. This is something that it should be a concern for everybody, because like I said, you know, it can absolutely happen to any one of us. I know that I get really frustrated sometimes because Leo's daddy will be outside and he will turn his back, and I don't. If my eyes can't find Leo, I'm not comfortable, and that is the reason why right there. So show your support, sign the petition, and you know, definitely get behind this bill. It's a very good thing, very good thing. All right, so now it's time for Leo's update. Not much really to update other than, you know, we were talking about additives and food colorings and that sort of thing and how it affects behavior. I just want to share that I've seen it firsthand. I had given Leo some Robitussin, and it was grape flavored. Now, to get that purple coloring, you know, they used the dyes. And let me just say that after Leo had taken the dose of cough syrup, probably, you know, a few hours later, the boy was bouncing off the wall. And I mean, oh my God, all right? Come bedtime, oh no. I mean, he literally, he was bouncing off the wall. He was crazy. And the emotional roller coaster was horrific, right? He was giggling, laying on the floor, and then out of nowhere was puckering and crying. And, I mean, this was just bipolar with 100 colors, okay? And that's not Leo. Leo's not bipolar, all right? These are not things that I see all the time. This is something that was a direct result of his taking Robitussin, okay? So that's my Leo update. I wanted to share with you that I've actually seen my own experience with what additives and food dyes can actually do. So, all right, well, here is a day in the life Leo. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you all back next week. We'll talk more about probiotics and enzymes and detoxing, and I am looking forward to it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah.
Nick.
Rice.
People.
Oh, purple. Yeah, you got different colors, Rice. Leo likes playing with this rice. See, we got different cups in here. Different ways to scoop up the rice. Got these little boxes of cereal for him to play with. So he can pretend, and he's got a dump truck. And this little cup here has holes in it. Yeah. What do you want me to do? Scoop it up. Yeah. So this is about 2 pounds of rice. So he's got all kinds of different colors. It looks like Fruity Pebbles. Yeah, see? We got blue, green, yellow, orange, red, purple, all kinds of colors. He likes his sensory rice bin, doesn't he? He plays with this all the time. Then we got one with beans and noodles. And these noodles, see, there's a hole in them. And I have a string that he can string through the noodles. Which I don't know what he's done with, but it's around here somewhere. Purple. And just regular brown beans is in here that he can play with. But he prefers the rice. But I keep all of his cups and stuff in here, because he doesn't play with it as much. But here's his rice.